Welcome to the Playful Life. I am your host, Crystal, the Playful Trainer. Thank you so much for joining me here for this episode of the Playful Life podcast. As always, thanks to Ron Harlow and Ron Harlow Media for letting us host this podcast on Facebook. And if you're checking this out on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and like this video. So today, I want to dive into a topic here for a little bit. This is a little different format. I don't have a guest today on the podcast, but I wanted to speak to you about the topic of overwhelm. So people feel overwhelmed, and I've been getting this sense a lot from conversation with friends and family, and being out there on social media. I see a lot of people posting about just feeling kind of overwhelmed and a little bit lost and a little off track, and there's a lot of weird things going on in our country, in our environment, in the world, right, with COVID and all these interesting ways that we're navigating with masks, and things are getting canceled, events are getting canceled, and so there's just a lot going on. And so in the midst of all this, right, we're trying to still hold our jobs and have a family and have responsibilities to ourselves and to our health, and all of this can be just really like, whoa, right? Am I right? Drop a comment down below if you are feeling overwhelmed like me. So I want to give you my 3 tips and sort of my strategies that I go to when I am feeling overwhelmed. So the first one I want to talk about a little bit, and I realize that you are watching this podcast probably on your computer or your phone or your tablet or something, but my first one really I want you to consider is unplugging. So this might be something that you do daily. It might be something that you decide to do at night when you're just relaxing before you go to bed. It might be something that you choose to do for one day out of the whole week. But what I mean by that is just sort of giving yourself a break from social media, from your phone, from YouTube, from even television. I mean, especially if you're watching television that has ads and advertisements coming at you, just unplug. Go sit outside, grab a seltzer, grab some, lemonade or something like that, or a glass of red wine, and, just find something that helps you relax and, go unplug, be out in nature, and, or if it's wintertime and you're watching this, just go sit in your favorite chair, just be silent. You can maybe even turn on some relaxing music, but just give your brain and your eyes and your being just a break from all this information that's constantly coming at us. I know that we mean well when we connect with people on social media or Facebook, Instagram, those types of things, and we want to be engaged and we want to know what's going on with people's lives, but at the same time, that can really spark a lot of unrest when we see people, people post about things that they're going through, or we compare ourselves to things that people are doing or accomplishments they have, and it can just be really hard to deal with those things, especially because most people on social media are only presenting the best, most polished version of themselves, right? Most people don't want you to see when they break down and cry, coming off the freeway after a long day at work. Like, most people are not posting about that. Most people are not, posting about stress in their family, or not liking their boss, or, all these things that they might be unhappy with in their lives. And you're really seeing, their best foot forward. And that's okay, but we just have to understand that that's generally the view and the vision that we're getting of people in our lives. And unless we know people personally and really talk to people and know what they're going through, and you're just kind of scrolling and you see these people, and don't even get me started on Instagram models and how they Photoshop their abs and their derrieres and all this stuff. Believe me, as a fitness professional, I go on Instagram and I am just I'm hanging it up. I'm never going to have abs like that, and I have to remember that a lot of these people are photoshopped, or they really dehydrated themselves before they took those photos. So it's not always this ideal or this version of ourselves that we should strive to be when we compare ourselves to others. So unplug, give yourself some time, schedule it in your day, schedule it in your week, and just say, hey, you can even tell people, hey, I don't go on Facebook on Fridays, or, I don't, after 9 o'clock, if you really need to get a hold of me, call me, because those people have your number. If they really need to get a hold of you, they're not going to be sending you direct messages and private messages, right, on Facebook. So if you need that time, take that time, really unplug and give yourself some grace. Number 2 is to have a plan. And, I say this with caution, because having a plan, if you're like me, you can plan everything almost to the T, and you can want to fix, manage, and control things, and then it gets way out of hand, and then I'm overwhelmed. So let me preface by saying that you have to have a plan that works for you. So what I have found is that instead of planning my entire week, so, I used to sit down on Sundays and, go through my weekly planner and be like, okay, this day, that day. So, and I would schedule everything. I would, schedule phone calls and workouts and meals and, things I wanted to get done in my business. And what I realized is that, of course I have to plan to do those things, but knowing that it's a loose plan and writing them in pencil is definitely very helpful. And of course I know when I see clients throughout the week, I know Monday, Wednesday, I see these clients, I know on this day I have this class, or those are the things that I can schedule in the week, and I understand those are reoccurring things, obviously, that I have to do. So, if it's that you go to work from 9 until 5, every day is that. But you could do this in your work schedule, you could do this in your life schedule, and what I have found works for me is sort of having a loose plan for the week. These are the things that I want to accomplish within these 5-7 days. And then each day looking at that list and saying, okay, what's one thing off of that list that I can accomplish today? So I might write out that list on Sunday, but then I don't look at it again until Monday morning when I'm sitting down with my coffee and my gratitude journal, and I'm going, okay, so what are the things on this list that I can accomplish today? And then I say, okay, so I know I have these, couple things that I have to do at these times. This is where my schedule is, but okay, right here in the day, this is when I'm going to commit to this action step, and I'm going to get this done. And that way I don't feel down on myself when I look at that list day after day after day, and I feel overwhelmed by all the things that I have to do. And also I don't say, okay, well, it's Monday and I have all these things on my to-do list for the week, so I'm just going to write them all in on Monday and try to get them done, because we're human, right? And things come up, and you should just have a loose plan for how you're going to go about the day and the week. So having a plan is really important, and just finding the right way to make that plan fit into your life. So making the list of things that you want to accomplish in the week, and then taking it day by day and saying, okay, which one can I accomplish today? And then celebrate at the end of the day when you got that done, and you can move on the next day and be productive all over again. My third tip for overwhelm is to open up and talk to someone. I've been seeing a lot of people post on social media about this, and again, while that's great, while social media is definitely a place where we can connect with people, sometimes when people don't comment or or they might not even be seeing your posts, right? You might be friends with somebody in real life and you're friends with them on Facebook, but for whatever reason, that person never sees your posts. This happens to me all the time, guys. I don't know what it is, but the algorithm is so weird that, sometimes I don't see posts from people I'm really good friends with. So, if I'm thinking about it, I'll go to their page and I'll be like, oh, what's going on with so-and-so? But that doesn't always happen, right? We get busy and everything else. So if you're looking for help and support from your friends, connect with them one-on-one, privately, somewhere you can talk to them on the phone, you can get on a Zoom, you can have them come and sip mimosas on your porch with you, socially distance. Whatever it is, reach out to somebody in your family, in your group of friends, even a healthcare professional or a mental health professional, if you really feel that you need some extra help dealing with being overwhelmed with all the things going on in the world. And sort of a subset of this is to really define, like look and meditate inward about what exactly you're feeling overwhelmed about. Is it your job? Is it COVID? Is it, some other thing going on? Are you selling your house? Are you, renting? Are you worried about finances? Are you trying to lose weight? I mean, what are the things that are on this list of, overwhelming topics that when you think about it, your head just wants to like explode, right? You have to just maybe define them. And then when you talk about them with someone else, saying them out loud sometimes doesn't it takes the scariness away, because if you talk about that with somebody, like there's a good chance that your friends and family are going to say, oh my gosh, I am totally experiencing that too. Like I'm so overwhelmed with that too. And you can have that camaraderie. And, once we put our problems down on paper or put them in perspective, they really lose their power over us. And you might even laugh at some of the things that you're feeling overwhelmed about. I always come back to this story. My dad loves to tell this story. It's so funny. I was in kindergarten. I believe I was in kindergarten. And of course, we never had homework in kindergarten, once in a while. And I came home, and I mean, who knows what went on that day at school, right? It was probably stressful socially or something. And I came home, and we're at the dinner table, and I was just like, imagine a 6-year-old, right, being like, I'm so overwhelmed, I have so much to do, I was just like going on and on. And my dad says, well, what do you have to do? What do you have to do today? And what's your homework? I was like, I have to, you guys have to sign this test that I brought home that had my grade on it, and I think my parents were expecting me to be like, I got an F on it or something. And my dad was like, well, what'd you get on the test? How'd you do? And I was like, I got an A. And they were just like, I feel like he likes to tell me that story because he knows how overwhelmed I can get by things. And so I am guilty of that, guys, that sometimes I like to really blow my problems out of perspective. And when you come home and you got a good grade on the test and all you have to do is get someone to look at that and sign it and put it back in your book bag, it's as simple as that. You got to just tackle it. If I, as a kid, right, had that on my to-do list and I could have checked that off and been like, all right, time to go, play games or whatever. But, even as kids, we get so overwhelmed. And I think as adults, we have a real responsibility to our kids and future generations and people around us in our circle of influence to help them break it down too. Because I think, right now kids are going through a lot. This is a really weird time. I think about the kids that grew up during 9/11, for instance, and how strange the world was then, and if they were old enough to remember say travel before that and then travel after that, if they went to Disney World or something in 1999, and then they were going back to Disney World in 2002. I mean, things were very different, right? And so kids, I think, were very overwhelmed and scared and unsure about what was going on. And so adults really had to help kids navigate that situation by, saying well, this is just how it is. This is the new protocol. This is what we're going to do. And, there was a little bit extra planning, right, that went into travel at that time, where you maybe had to leave your house earlier to get to the airport because we had to check into security. And so, but now when we go and we travel, I mean, it's a little bit different because of COVID, but I mean, now we know what to expect, right? And I think even dealing with COVID is probably a little bit easier as far as travel goes, because we are conditioned now to be just a little bit more prepared when we go for security and all these other things. But at first, right, it was really overwhelming. We're like, I don't even want to travel, right? Because it was so so weird and unknown. But we get used to it. We get used to, routines and different things. And I'm sure there's been a time in your life where maybe you've started a new job or, started going to a new gym or something like that. And so there's all these things that you had to learn there, right? You had to learn the protocol, where's the bathroom? Where's the coffee machine? Who makes the coffee? When can I drink the coffee, right? All these things that, maybe even had you really overwhelmed in that first week. And then once you got your feet wet and you got into it and you understood the routine, it was much easier. And So just always remember that there are ways to overcome the overwhelm, and there's definitely some light at the end of the tunnel. And most importantly, just remember that everybody else right now, like in the whole world, right? When could we ever think back? I mean, except for when something like a tragedy happens, that everyone in the whole world is connected by the same sense of overwhelm and uncertainness. And so it's important to remember that we are not alone, and you can always reach out. And, I would love for a discussion to happen here, even in the comments. If you're feeling overwhelmed about something, someone might have a great option or a great strategy that they tried out and really worked for them. So number one, just to recap, unplug. So give yourself a little grace and a little bit of time to unplug from technology and advertisements and social media, and just give yourself peace to sit and relax and really enjoy that time. Number two was have a plan. So allow yourself to look at the week, to look at your tasks, to look at what's going on in front of you, and to have something in place and check those things off your to-do list and celebrate when you check them off, because that's going to give you the edification and the self-efficacy to go further on in your week and your day. And number three is to reach out to someone and, have that conversation, tell people what you're going through, write it down, journal about it, really get it out of your head onto paper, into a conversation. And don't be afraid to ask people for help and support. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. I certainly would love for you to share this video with someone else that you think might need to hear this message. As always, subscribe, like this video, share it with someone else, and catch all the other great programs we have on Ron Harlow Media. Ron Harlow is live on Ron Harlow Media on Facebook every day from 4 to 6. The Cheeky Mom, my girl Erin Ellis, she is on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. So she's got something fun going on there as well. And as always, you can check out the Playful Life podcast live on Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. or catch the replay here on YouTube and Ron Harlow Media as well. Be sure to check out our sponsors. Some of them are listed on Ron Harlow Media. We thank them so much for their support and their grateful contributions, gracious contributions to our channel here. So stay playful, stay safe, stay positive, and have a beautiful and grateful day.